Today on Locked On Rockies, so close yet so far, the Rockies unable to execute in extra innings. A reminder about how much they struggle doing the little things, which you got to do to win ball games.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 28th day of May in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, if you're rocking and rolling through the literal worst baseball season possibly of all time, and you're rocking and rolling with us here on Locked On Rockies, thank you so much for hanging out with us, for making us your first listen. And you're in the right spot if you want to be around Rockies fans, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Thank you again for firing off your Rockies hot takes and being part of the show on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can, like I said, be part of the show. We're going to read some comments later on in the show, but we'll, of course, break down, hey, credit where credit is due. It was an entertaining ball game for the Colorado Rockies, at least this time, and they're playing close and better baseball now, going into extras. And I believe both of the losses to the Cubs have been just one-run losses, kind of making it, threatening a little bit here for against this Cubs team. No, there was 2 runs there. The Yankees was the 1 run. So, in terms of losses, it's not blowouts. 4 out of the last 5 Rockies losses 4 out of the last 5 Rockies losses have been by 1 run or 2 runs in that case. So I'm sorry, 3 out of the 4. My quick math. I already kind of started laughing at myself of how ridiculous it is to be like, oh, they at least lost a little bit worse, because that's where we're at, man. That's the state of the team right now. Hey, German Marquez, this is a huge moment in the season for him. It's obviously not a lot, but to have back-to-back starts like this for German, for him to look a lot closer to the German Marquez that we are used to, that's very important for the Colorado Rockies. It's not something that you're overly crazy about. And I guess I'm sorry, I blocked out the Arizona game, where it was certainly not a good appearance here. I got the baseball reference up, so that was in between. So 2 out of the last 3 starts for German are looking good. Actually, no, they haven't. Baseball Reference hasn't updated it, so I'm getting my lines crossed here. But now, in the last 3 out of the last 4 starts for German Marquez, we're looking at deep runs, 7 innings here in across multiple starts, and of quality stuff as well. 6 innings against the Cubs. Still had the hits and earned run, and still some damage there. What wasn't perfect, but at least German now has been getting back to keeping the Rockies in ball games and being successful. We're not seeing everything that we're used to with German Marquez. We're not seeing him at the level that we would like for him to be at this point, here. But again, recovering, first time back in a while. Like there, maybe I think for me, for sure, like especially if we're looking back on my preseason analysis and my preseason hype for German Marquez, is I severely underestimated the recovery and coming back, and just how long the rust and everything was going to play a factor. Now we're seeing German be a Rockies, a player that can contribute for the Rockies here against Philly. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Again, is it the best line ever? Is it Cy Young stuff? No, but against a good Phillies team, to go 7 and to allow only 1 earned run, and to keep the Rockies in a close ball game, that matters. And then for him to go out against the Padres and do some damage there, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, only 1 earned run in that, with 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Good stuff. Of course, in the middle there, we have that Arizona in only 3 innings worth of work. He gives up the 5 earned, 7 runs total there in only 3 innings worth of work. But we're starting to see a little bit more stacking of better performances from German Marquez. That is certainly a small silver lining in what continues to be some frustration, though, because this game here against the Cubs, the Rockies, they had opportunities. They were dealing with some stuff. They weren't, again, the issues with the offense. It just continues to be infuriating that this team is unable to execute. I think that's the definition of why the Rockies lost this game. They can't execute. They're not able to execute the little things. They're not able to execute a bunt late in extra innings to move things over. Ariel Amador, hello. It is looking like he needs a reset. He needs a little bit of a reboot, and I think that might be why the Rockies made the move they did to bring in Arcia. And I think we don't want to get. I don't want to go too crazy in terms of concern with Amador, considering his age and the experience there and the situation he's been thrown into. But, we got the glove being thrown, and then we got, whatever the horrendous bunt attempt was in extra innings. Why the Rockies can't execute a bunt in extra innings is beyond me. To win ball games like that against a good team like the Cubs, my buddy Jambron was telling me this. You have to execute. It's about being able to execute the scouting report as well. The Cubs knowing about Tyler Kinley and his tendencies about being a little bit slow, being aggressive on the base paths, and being successful on the base paths, taking advantage of a Rockies team that has not been able to do very much defense, it feels like, against base stealing this year. And on the flip side, again, as much as when I sat there, I was like, man, I don't maybe think I love the running in the situations that the Rockies did, but at the same time, you only have 9 wins. You need to be able to, and an offense that wasn't doing a lot. I like seeing the aggression on the Bates pass. I like get the reps, get the experience. Again, it didn't work out and it didn't pan out. And you can kind of point to it as maybe some examples of why, as part of the reason of why the Rockies lost in this second game against the Cubs. But don't you like to at least see them moving a little bit more, using their aggression, trying to use their speed, trying to generate some offense? I think this is something that, again, we're talking about with the new manager, something that is a difference with this with this version of the Rockies. So again, I think that there's plenty to look at and be encouraged by. I think Jake Bird continues to build up his trade candidacy and make for an interesting move that the Rockies could possibly make here in the middle of the season. And the Rockies were in it. Brenton Doyle having a late home run. It just comes down to when you get to extra innings and you have that runner on second and you're not able to bring them in, and it feels like the Rockies do this a lot. I don't have the numbers or anything, so this is definitely just a vibes based take right here. I just feel like the Rockies are not a good extra innings team, a team that just is not able to execute, but small ball. And that takes experience. That takes this team getting into a better spot and getting into a better position as well, and just being overall able to execute. In order to be able to be successful at the small ball and the extra innings, you need to be able to lay the bunt down and be able to get that done. There's plenty of things that the Rockies miss out on, and that is a huge deal breaker for them. It's something that until you can start laying down the bunts, putting the ball in play when you got the runners in scoring position, when you're in the extra inning situation, it doesn't matter if the bullpen has, is the strong in the 10th inning. When you're still setting up situations where you're not putting up the crooked numbers, which kind of are something that should be more of a standard in extra innings. That's a huge problem for the Colorado Rockies. Let's keep breaking this down. Let's keep thinking about it and looking at it overall in the big picture of things. As we were talking about some of the positives of this, but it is another loss for the Colorado Rockies. Let's keep breaking it all down right here on Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, this is one of the best parts about Supply House, folks. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and dedicated discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. We're also brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When you start using Monarch, just how much you're spending on food delivery, streaming services, all those small things that really start adding up. Now you can budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals, maybe with a partner, because collaborating with a partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. And make sure you're checking out Locked On MLB Game Night, Locked On MLB, all sorts of great programming across the Locked On MLB podcast family. We got all sorts of cool stuff going on here. And Rockies, we got the Rockies fans tuning in and hanging out there. But, as much as it is such a weird thing where it's like we need to be able to, since this is a podcast that follows the Rockies daily, we need to be able to celebrate the small things and the tiny joys of a really tough season like this one that we're going through. So it is nice to focus on a good start from Germán Marquez, Brenton Doyle home run, and Bird being successful, and and there being some bright spots here, taking a team into extras, making them sweat, and kind of playing by the 2025 Colorado Rockies standards, better baseball. But it's still another loss, and it's still another just reminder of what is going to be the fallout of this. There is in no way, shape, or form not that nothing more can happen. The removal of Bud Black, the removal of Bam Bam, the removal of a couple of these coaches is simply not going to be enough. It's what do you do to restore the reputation of this team? What do you do when literally, I'm looking at ESPN's biggest surprises or whatever this post they made today, recapping the first half of the season, and the Rockies are in the first paragraph, and it's just highlighting how bad they have been. Like, I think when we're talking about this, the reckoning that has to come from this will prove to be a huge moment in Colorado Rockies history. There will be at the end or at some point this season, and I guess you can say with them moving on from Bud Black, that they're already making those calls, but a guy on an expiring contract, a 1-year deal. I mean, this has to signal, like we were kind of talking about yesterday, which is how far behind you actually are Like there is no, it isn't just spin. You can't just sit here and tell us, a classic Dick Monfort. Oh, here's a little positive thing and a hope for the future. And I think we can be 500. I think we have the best defense. And hey, I bought into the defense too. No, I cannot lie on that. But the point is, as this continues to go on, as the Rockies continue to be the laughing stock of Major League Baseball, you do start to wonder what will the impact of this season truly be for this team? What can we really expect for this team moving forward in the wake of not only this, the amount of losses and all this stuff, but like, hey, you don't have as much as you thought. You can't turn out, you do not create the talent and develop the talent that you think you do. And there's no hiding from it anymore. They're in a situation in which they have to do something. They cannot sit here and spin the same old song and dance of everything's okay. It's going to get better in the future. Oh, we have this piece. Oh, we have this. Look, look, distract you with the defense. Oh, distract you with this over here. Oh, hey, just we believe in the future. Like, there needs to be it's one thing to be bad, right? But to be historically bad, to be this level of bad, and to think that what you're doing is working, and what your plan that you're sticking with right now, what's happening with it, you can't sit there and think that it's going to be acceptable. And I wish I could sit here and say that I really believe that ultimate huge big change is going to come to the Colorado Rockies, but I'm not convinced. I mean, they've been spinning a yarn of hope and turning bad seasons and losing baseball and bad practices for years. And they were able to buy some time with the playoffs and showing some stuff. But I'm talking specifically as we reflected on the Bill Schmidt moves, the Bill Schmidt tenure. If you're not worried about every inch and every corner of Rockies baseball right now as a Rockies fan, I don't know. I don't know how you're not. I mean, it mixed with everything because again, as most of the people have been kind of saying this and that are still somewhat active on Rockies Twitter, it's for anything to come of this, for anything to change, it's going to require an organization that has been so resistant to change, that has been so high on their own supply, that we have to think that this will actually change their mind. And historic losing should be enough to change the average organization. But do we really believe like that the Rockies will act like the average organization? 128,000 people watched the Colorado Rockies play the New York Yankees. And I know the attendance thing, I'm kind of a weird flip-flop. What do you make up your mind? Where do you feel? But there is just so much weird nuance that goes into the Colorado Rockies that I really wish I could sit here and confidently say that there will be significant and massive change within the Rockies organization after this season or during this season. But when have they shown us that in their history? And when have they shown us that under Dick Monfort? Maybe a couple of tries, maybe a couple of examples, maybe a couple of things here and there. But there's never been a situation like this for the Colorado Rockies and Dick Monfort. So the question will be, how does he respond to this? because you can't spin the usual spin. You cannot do the usual spin zone that the Rockies have tried on in response to their underperformance and lackluster play. It's going to be very interesting to see how that development plays out for the team and for the club. All right, let's take a look at some of your comments here from the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section to finish out the show for today. And I want to ask, do we care about quality losses in 2025? Does that matter to you guys? Let's talk about that coming up next. Rock on Rockies fans, back at it here in segment number 3 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you again so much for making us your first listen of the day and rocking and rolling here as the latest edition of the Locked On Rockies set is under construction here. But, it's starting to come together a little bit here. We'll have some flair. I also don't know why I haven't set this camera up with the new lights. I have only so much time in the day, but we're here to talk rocks with you guys. Finishing out the show today. And as we navigate 2025, do you sit and get any outside of the fact that it's a better watch, it's a more entertaining thing to watch and spend your time doing when the Rockies are playing close games and they lose them? Do you care about quality losses? And does that actually exist anymore in this season? Whereas every loss just kind of just compounds everything and all of the frustrations there. Because as much as I do like looking at some positive signs from the game, when you're still losing, and when you're losing at the rate that the Rockies are and have been, you get pretty over talking about quality losses because it's still a loss. So I'm just curious, how do you, as the Rockies fans out there, that'll be my question to you all to let me know in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. Do you care about the quality loss, or is a loss just a loss? I mean, again, we know about some of the entertainment value. It's a much better, more entertaining product when they're playing better ball. But how do you feel about like a loss like this and how the Rockies have played so far in this Cup series? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go back to the Locked On Rockies comment section here. Let's see what here. Bestest says, I wouldn't be surprised if the Yanks win it all this year. And was in response to our discussion about, the Rockies playing not only good teams, but well-run teams that have been making deep runs there. Yankees certainly have an opportunity to do so when the American League kind of owning up, or looking a little bit weaker, I would say, than the National League this year. Knott says, Monfort is poor in terms of MLB owners. He's running the organization paycheck to paycheck, and nothing will change until there are different owner or ownership groups. That is actually an interesting wrinkle and something that's kind of crazy when we're talking about it, right? It's normal to discuss it kind of in the world of sports, but when you're talking about it in the concept of the real world, it's like, oh, how's that ultra wealthy person? He's not as wealthy as others. I mean, that is important. I mean, the Rockies' money issues are very real. I mean, there is a reason why the payroll has been declining. There's a reason why this team hasn't been signing attractive free agents. There's a reason why for these things. It's just not in the numbers overall. But just like we were talking about in the last segment, if you want to change things, a reckoning has to happen, and it's going to cost you money. Like I don't think there is no way out of this hole that doesn't cost you more. Buying, building out staffs, going after free agents and getting some guys in here to start helping this club be successful, going out and getting some big name talent in analytics or to do stuff behind the scenes. It's going to cost Dick Monfort money to get out of this hole. But again, how much of the incentive is there to get out of the hole from his perspective, and how much does he really think that it will pay off for him to do so? Let's see. Raul, yes, Raul is here. Raul says the first game was the Rocks' most complete game this season. It was exciting and thrilling to watch. Too bad they only have one of those games every 15 game. That second game's implosion was laughable. One error and the whole thing unraveled. This is in response to the Yankees series. Jack back in action, asking after every loss, who would you DFA, trade, or demote? Trade. I mean, again, there's only going to be so much value, and DFA. I mean, you need the depth at this point. At this point, you're looking, the most likely demotion is probably Adiel Amador, because it's just kind of, I think he needs that AAA reset. Got to build the confidence back up, and get himself back in the right headspace. Because I as much as I think that it's been good that in the wake of the Estrada injury, the Rockies have given him an opportunity, given him a lot of chances. I just think that this is one where it's like, hey, let's let him get back there. Let's let him be successful and start building things up, because it's some of that stuff's a bit painful. But you only have so many options there, and you can't just get rid of everybody, because then you wouldn't have a team. Let's see. RK says, having hindsight on Schmidt's roster moves or lack thereof doesn't invalidate all the criticisms leveled at him, because everybody knew they were bad choices at the time they were made or weren't made. It's not like he's made a bunch of decisions that made sense at the time, but then later didn't pan out. Nobody thought keeping Story or Gray made sense. Nobody thought extending Diaz, Cron, or Bard made any sense for the Rockies were as an organization. Nobody thought the Chris Bryant contract made any sense, even though nobody expected him to be such a dumpster fire. I don't necessarily think the Rymack extension was bad at the time, but not trading him at some point over the last two seasons is unacceptable, especially when his value was high last year in the first half of the season. The only people that thought all of these decisions made sense were the Rockies front office. They were in denial and didn't want to admit that this team needed a full rebuild despite multiple 90 to 100 loss seasons. It's great. Great points there, RK. There certainly was a lot of hesitancy about a lot of these moves that Schmidt made, a lot of those extensions, certainly about some of those players. And again, it was that whole idea of this team committing to these players, committing to these guys in situations where it's like, you still were last place in the NL West. You still didn't make the playoffs. You still flirted with or have been at or exceeded 100 losses. What are you doing? Why are you committing to these pieces? Why are you making these moves? Why are you not maximizing where you're at and not buying into your own and smelling your own farts really about your own unrealistic expectations about the team that you thought you had? So I'm with you there, RK. Great points there here. And K Gold follows up with 13 of the past 15 years have been losing seasons, bottoming out with this historically bad season. 2025 marks an exclamation point to the incompetence and uncompetitiveness of this organization. There's no hiding behind Rocktober and 2017/18 for this franchise's ownership anymore. Big changes must and will happen. And I read that comment before recording, and that's kind of what got my brain thinking a little bit about this as well, where it's just like, you're out of time. You are out of time for excuses for things that just are really frustrating as a fan and really inexcusable as an organization. Because again, there are people calling the Rockies bad for baseball right now. They are pointing out that what they're doing this year is harming the game of baseball. There's a lot of people that would agree with them. I mean, and there are things that are a big problem with it and with how this team is run. And they need to be on full display now, because again, there is no hiding from this. There's no hiding from the record books. And this Rockies team continues to establish themselves in the history books and not in the right ways. For the Rockies to already be outpacing a team that shattered a record last year for being horrible, and for us to sit here, I mean, and the White Sox, I mean, I guess it's a different situation, but I mean, I'm trying to remember how much changed in the wake of their season last year. I'm going to be totally honest. I haven't followed a lot of the White Sox, so let me know in the comments. But there's just no way that you win back any Rockies fan if you maintain the status quo of this team and you continue to just to feed a lie that all is well in the world of the Colorado Rockies. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day and joining us here on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Fire off your Rockies hot takes. Let me know what's on your mind in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. For your next listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. And if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, and Buffs. Don't forget the Nuggets as well. I was like, why am I forgetting one? Go check out all the shows. And hey, thank you so much for making us part of your day and tuning in here through a very, very difficult season. We'll be rocking and rolling right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast.